Hi, I'm Jim, and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop. And tonight, finally gonna put together Tracy's chain case. I got my parts, and the sprocket and shaft is the problem. Some of these, they're in a bag right from Briggs & Stratton, and it says on the bag, made in the USA. Well, they're not. I've had a few people send me pictures of parts they bought from Briggs & Stratton, and the bag says made in the USA, and they get the part out and they look, and it's stamped right on there, made in Taiwan or made in China. That's false advertising, isn't it? Got any lawyers out there that want to get a class action lawsuit? Now, this is what a sprocket and shaft should do. You put the chain on it, and when you turn it, the chain should rotate without binding. Well, all these new ones you buy that says made in the US, they're not worth a crap. $96, and when you go to turn it, the chain does this. It climbs up on the teeth. They don't have the teeth machined deep enough. If you can get a good look at this one, you see how dull that is just from the finish. They must sandblast or shot blast these. You look at this one. See how nice and shiny them teeth are? That's because my brainiac boss, he wrote a program and got this in a mill and got it indicated in just right and ran around that with a solid carbide end mill about 4 times. These things are like Rockwell 62, like trying to file a rock. And he finally got it so it's the size it's supposed to be, according to the book he looked up in, and it rotates so nice. So we can finally get this thing together. I was beginning to wonder, and so was poor Tracy, if he was ever going to get his chain case back. Now, I called around to a lot of places, and I ordered 4 of these from different places, all the way from, down in Florida, as far up here as Kentucky. And everybody's, oh yeah, we got one, and it's made in the USA. It's in an old bag. It's all dusty. I said, send it to me. I had to return them all, except for this one. This one came from Part Street. Same problem. They're junk. But at least we got a program wrote up where I can use this thing. Got to put the new O-rings on. Now this is the sprocket and shaft. I got to pull this. I got this key pushed in here. I don't want to try and stretch that O-ring over top this key. I'm going to pull that out. What do you do with the O-ring? Now I got new bearings in there, and I didn't want to bore most of you people to death watching repetitive stuff. So I just pressed the bearings in. I got the old ones here. Oh, missed. I send all them old parts back. I don't keep them. That way they know I put new ones in. Well, most of the time they can just watch me do it. Get some O-ring lube on there. It's great stuff. This is what I use. And I also have a another number 55. It's a different brand. There we go. Same stuff, different color. This is by Dow Corning, number 55. It's probably identical stuff. They stick in their own tubes. Now, sprocket and hub is okay. He had started this whole thing. He had trouble getting the nut off of the sprocket and shaft that holds on the hub. And this is, no, this isn't a brand new one. This is a used one I took off a machine I bought for parts. And this is how I clean them up when I sell them. These you want to be careful with. These are $245. The sprockets, like I said, are 96 bucks. And it depends where you buy them at on what you're going to pay for them. This is the old one. We'll send that back too. Okay, now chain. I usually try to put this together before I slip it in there. Otherwise it binds up on you. They fit. Oh, much better. The other one, before we remachined that sprocket, you could turn it about that far and it jammed right up. I had this whole thing assembled, ready to go, and it locked up on me. I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. What can you do? Now, a lot of people don't like using sealant on their quart gaskets. Tell you the truth, I didn't ask Tracy if he wanted me to put sealant on here or not. So I guess I'm going to. I want to dry fit it and screw it together and make sure everything's going to turn okay. You dry fit it, you can do that, but once you put the sealant on there, you're pretty much committed to leaving it assembled and just hope that everything is gonna come out okay. Well, I gotta put all 13 of these in. We're just gonna shoot around here back and forth. Put a few of them in here. I want to put both of them straight across from the sprocket. This one, I don't know if I said, this one's going back to Texas. Now, I even called one dealer down in, I don't think it was Tennessee. I think it was down a little farther. And she told me, as soon as I said, I'm looking for a sprocket and shaft, she kind of giggled a little. And I said, what's the matter? She said, we were trying to find one of them for months. She said, I've got a machine in here of a good friend of mine. We're trying to fix up his chain case. His hub wore out. That's what happened to this one. I don't know if the nut came loose, but this is just aluminum. And the key from chucking back and forth stripped this out. Well, then you can't hold this to break the nut loose. I got a video on how to do that. And that's how he messed up the threads trying to get that loosened up. I'm going to snug these up good. Oh, that's nice. Now when I do get it all put together permanently, I have to adjust these bearings in here. How much play I got, shouldn't have that. And what controls the play is how far you push these bearings in. These bearings will slide right on through. No matter which way you press them in, they'll go right through. These will not. They got that snap ring on the back side. This works fine. So we're going to open this back up. We're going to put some sealant on it. And I'm not going to make you watch that. I will show you what I use. One of my other viewers that I repaired his whole drivetrain specified he wanted me to use this. It's aviation forma gasket, and it's pretty thin. As you can see, it's running off the end of the brush. Very nice stuff. I really like this. I bought this at my local parts store, automotive store, and it was like 12 bucks, maybe a little more. You can get the same exact thing, same size bottle, Amazon for like 6 bucks. And this won't dry up on me like the paste does that I usually use. I buy the smallest tube of that I can find, and when I get the next job to use it, it's always hard. I throw it away and buy another tube. So this stuff I really like. You can actually shake this. I don't know if you're supposed to mix it up before you use it. So let me put you on pause, and I'll get this thing sealed up the way I want it, and I'll show you how I adjust these bearings to keep this sprocket in the center so the chain lines up with the bottom sprocket. Oh, that's so nice. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we got it together. Now I will continue to snug them. I don't torque them. When I snug them up, they're probably tighter than what the torque spec is supposed to be, but I just give it a twist. And I'll tighten that up again tonight before I go in. And before I ship it, I'll snug them again, because the cork gasket is going to compress a little bit, and I don't want it to leak. Now this is a little piece of tubing that I machined up to tap on them bearings to get this thing adjusted so it's centered and there's very little play. Got about a 30-second. Let's see which one is in farther than the other. Yeah, they both look pretty close. We'll tap this one in a tad more. Now I know you're going to ask, what if you tap it in too far? Like I just did. Pretty stiff. Well, then you just tap it back out. This one's deeper than this one. So we'll set that back up there. And you just tap on this. Maybe a 30-second there. That is so nice. This has been a long time coming to get this part and get this thing put together. Might as well set that right on there. Keep all the goo together. Now you know what happens when you put steel and aluminum together. That is not a good combination. We get this key pressed in here. So what we're going to do is put a little NICs on there. Oh, that fits so nice. And let me see what we got up here. Oh, that's Permatex gets everywhere. Oh. Get rid of this before I get into it. Okay, we're gonna slop this thing up a little bit. First thing we want to do is put my Belleville washer on there. Yep, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me I did it wrong. You gotta put the washer on first. Now when you put this washer on, it cups this way. You want the edge of this washer to hit on the inner race of the bearing, not the other way. So you want it cupped up this way. Now we can put it in there. Hey, I never said I was perfect. I'm just damn good. Can I say that? I don't know. NICs. We'll slop this stuff up here, boy. He'll have it all over him before he gets this in the machine. Oh yeah, that's nice. Now we can put this on. I remember how these go in here. And this is a self-locking nut also. We'll put this little brake shoe on here. Now this little brake shoe has a little tube. It's just a piece of rolled flat stock. It's supposed to act as a stop. So when you tighten a nut up, you don't lock down the brake. And I've got that on backwards too. And it goes like that. And the little spring, that's always challenging to get that in the right place. You got a little hooked end like this. Then you got a little weird hook. That wraps around the brake arm. This little hook, like the end of the cable that goes for the accelerator, that goes in a hole right there. I bet you want to see it, don't you? That little hole right there. That's where that little crooked end goes. Your brake arm goes on like this. Put your little tube in there. And the spring goes around that little tube. It doesn't want to hook in there the way I want it to. Okay, what's the problem? I guess it goes under the brake arm, between the case and the brake arm. Put it in that hole, put it over top the tube, then put the brake arm on, and it catches. This is a handful. This is a two-person job. There, I think. I want that crap all over my bench. And we'll put the nut on. Yeah, we gotta get a couple of, now you wanna be careful that that little tube doesn't lift up and pinch the spring between the tube and this case. So you wanna keep your eye on that. Let's see. Oh, not 3/8 either. The bolt is 7/16, and so's the nut. All right. Now we're cruising. Oh, I guess I should have put on my goofy gloves everybody gives me a hard time about. Remember, make sure you don't get that spring caught. And you just tighten this up because that tube in there is acting like a shoulder bolt, and it will keep that from pinching anything. Oh, I just love that stuff. And you can see the brake, the spring is working. Oh, sorry, but that's just awesome. Now, he sent me a new clutch disc. Yes, you can tell when you got a new one because right down the center you're going to see that molding crease where they mold this together on the drive, on the disc. And another thing you want to make sure you have is the liner. If some of these you can buy without the liner, they will not work. You're not going to go up a hill. That goes on there like that. Very simple. Thrust washer. It does absolutely nothing. If you got one that's ripped and you got a pad of paper with like a legal pad with cardboard back, cut one out of that. The only thing that does is keeps this from rattling. It has nothing to do with thrust. Then we put the cover plate on and the 4 nuts. I don't think we got the right nuts here. These are fine thread, them are coarse. These are his bolts, and they're fine thread, but they're all junk because the threads are messed up. We'll send them back. And I'm gonna have to find some nuts for this. Might as well, I have enough distance. I was debating if I wanted to use the lock nuts that they have on their machines you can tell when you see that little crimp mark on every other flat, that is a self-locking nut. This is a nylock nut, and we're going to put that right on there. And once we get the clutch disc bolted together, I will zip that on with an impact and lock it down so it don't come loose. But let me see if I got some nuts to put on here until I can get to the hardware and buy these with they're built in, they have their own little teeth on there that acts as a lock washer. Let me see what I can find in my drawer. Okay, I went over to my parts bin and I just got some standard lock washers and standard nuts. Should work just fine. And I need to grab a pair of gloves so I can tighten this thing up. But we messed up. Got to take that back off. Does anybody know why? Have any guesses? My Belleville washers I have to put on here. These are just old school lock washers. That's all they are. Not many people use them anymore. They're getting kind of hard to come by unless you get them from like Parts Tree. Boy, that turns nice, don't it? Sorry, can't help myself. I've been waiting for so long to get that part made. And like I said, we got some brainiac guys at the shop that can really program CNC machines. I don't run CNC machine. I'm an old school machinist. Give me a machine and a blueprint and a micrometer and I'll make you what you need. Most of these were made on a CNC because of the accuracy you had to have on that sprocket. I have some other parts that I made. That's going to be the next video and you are going to want to watch that. It's for some more snapper parts. They're coming out of China that are junk. And you need 2 of them in every machine you rebuild. That's the next one. You're going to want to watch it. Now, I got to grab a glove for some protection. And I'll be right back. Yes, I have my funny gloves on. And I'm going to put this on. These are some winter padded gloves that I use a lot, and you'll see why in a second. And my new impact wrench. Well, them things really go on hard. You don't have to worry about them falling off. Rigid lifetime service agreement. Batteries, chargers, drill, motor, whatever goes bad, it's warranted for life. Now I just hang on to this thing best I can. And we tighten her up. I'll make sure I'm down all the way. that's nice. Been a long time. I think I've had this thing for like 4 months trying to get this fixed for him. Tracy, it's finally done. If he keeps up on his videos, he'll probably be watching this video before UPS gets this thing to him. I mean, he's in Texas, so you're looking at probably 4 days. We have a list of parts here. We have to make sure we got them all on here. He also needed a new hexagon shaft. And he wanted the spreader bar for the back of the machine. So we'll get all that stuff figured out, and I gotta play with this for a while. I mean, this is just, it turns so nice. And he wanted some extra plugs. So I'll send them to him. I got a slew of those. Oh, he also needs the seal that goes on the hexagon tube. A lot of people put these on backwards. This has a boss on it. You can see it sticking down there. That boss goes towards the gear. That holds it away from the gear so the chain don't tear it up. See the gap we got there? Now what this does, it's supposed to be a splash guard. This goes through the differential case, and this rubs up against the side of the case, and it tries to keep the oil from coming out of the differential, which it's going to, which is fine because that's what lubricates the shaft, so this thing will shift easier. So if you're getting some dripping out of your boots, you also need some boots. Some of them, they also sent me 2 of these, I don't know why. Some of these boots, I don't really want to open this, have a little vent hole in them. When you spread them open, you'll see a little hole in the center. Just put that hole up when the machine is sitting on its tires. That way, if any of the lubricant gets into the out of the differential onto the hexagon tube, it won't leak out of that hole and drip on your floor. And it's going to do that. No matter what you do to these chain cases, they all pretty much leak. There's not much I can do about that either. These are a little better since they went to a different style of shaft. With the O-rings, these tend to seal up a lot better than the old style that just was a slip fit. And of course it's going to leak. So this is it. Oh, my plugs. These are almost $3 a piece from Parts Tree. I go down and get these from my local True Value Ace Hardware. 49 cents. So when I pull one out to fill up the chain case or the differential, I don't worry about hurting it. I just put a new one in because they are so cheap. But that's it for now. He asked me if I was going to fill this up with lube, and no. I had a friend of mine that shipped some stuff with oil in it, and the shipping company found out, I think it was UPS, and it was almost delivered. I mean, it was on the truck, on its way out to be delivered, and the driver noticed there was some stains on the box. They shipped it all the way back to the guy that sent it. He told me he couldn't have it because it was leaking oil. It was almost delivered, and he did not get his money back for shipping. He had to clean this thing up and then reship it. So remember that if you're trying to ship something. And that's it for now. We will send this thing out as soon as I get everything wrote down as far as what I put into it price-wise. And that's it. So until next time, work safe, have fun, and don't forget about the next video. You're gonna love it. We'll talk to you soon. So long.